Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you enjoyed our last story about Li Qingzhao, the poet whose love endured so much, then get ready for another incredible journey. Tonight, we re-stepping back in time to the magnificent Tang dynasty, an era of unparalleled grandeur and cultural brilliance in China. And here, we're going to meet another truly extraordinary woman, Xue Tao. She's often celebrated as the first famous female poet in Chinese history, and trust me, her story is unlike any other. While Li Qingzhao's life was deeply intertwined with romance and heartbreaking tragedy, Xue Tao's path was forged by sheer talent, boundless ambition, and dazzling wit. Imagine a young woman who dared to stride into a world completely dominated by men, and not only made her voice heard, but truly resonated. This is her beginning. Our story kicks off in the serene, rolling hills of Sichuan. Picture this, a small village just beginning to shimmer with the soft, ethereal light of early morning. Birds are singing their hearts out. The river sparkles like a string of diamonds, and in a quiet, modest courtyard, a young girl sits cross-legged on a bamboo mat, a brush poised in her hand. Her name was Xue Tao, and even at the tender age of 12, her poetry had a way of touching grown-ups so deeply it could bring them to tears. On this particular morning, she was completely absorbed, trying to capture the elusive beauty of the morning mist in a new verse. She murmured to herself, then wrote, "The river bends like silver silk, clouds drift softly over jade hills. A single bloom leans to the wind, whispering secrets of the sky. Can you feel the beauty in those words?" Just then, her mother peeked into the courtyard, a gentle smile on her face. "Xue Tao, why are you writing so intensely at this hour? Come, breakfast is ready." Xue Tao barely even lifted her head, her focus unbroken. "I am listening to the river, mother. The river speaks, and I must answer." Her mother sighed, a soft, understanding sound. She knew this daughter was different, delicate in appearance, yes, but inside, fearless with her words, and with a spirit that refused to be contained. By noon, word of Xue Tao's incredible talent had already begun to spread like wildfire to the neighboring households. Local scholars, always keen for a fresh voice, would sometimes slip quietly into her courtyard, almost reverently, just to hear her read her poems aloud. On one memorable day, a distinguished visiting scholar named Li Qingzhao arrived. Carrying a rare and beautiful calligraphy scroll, he approached her politely. "I hear your verses capture the very soul of the river," he said, his voice full of curiosity. Xue Tao looked up, her dark eyes steady and perceptive, meeting his gaze directly. "Then you have come to hear the river itself," she replied, a hint of challenge and wit in her tone. Li Qingzhao, clearly impressed, handed her the scroll. "A gift," he said warmly, "for a poet who listens to nature more truly than most men in this world." Xue Tao accepted the scroll with a graceful bow. Her fingers lightly brushed the delicate strokes of the ink, and in that simple gesture, a spark of recognition passed between them. It was a shared love of art, of words, of the profound, unspoken beauty that threads through the world. Over the next few months, scholars flocked from nearby towns, bringing with them precious gifts, rare paper, exquisite brushes, and their own carefully crafted poems for her to read and critique. But for Xue Tao, her greatest joy wasn't the praise, however flattering. It was the dialogue, the vibrant, intellectual exchange, the deeply satisfying feeling that her words could genuinely touch minds and hearts. Yet life in Temp's China, as with any era, wasn't always gentle or kind. Some villagers began to whisper about a girl so talented, muttering phrases like too bold, too proud. Others, however, deeply admired her sheer courage and unique spirit. Xue Tao, though, didn't chase after approval. She had learned early on that words carried immense power, and with great power came great responsibility. One evening, as the setting sun painted the hills in breathtaking shades of orange and crimson, Xue Tao walked to the riverbank, her favorite brush and paper in hand. She dipped the brush into the ink and began to write boldly, letting the river's soothing murmur guide her hand. She wrote, "If I am but a girl of this small village, let my words fly beyond mountains and rivers. Let them tell the world that women can speak, that beauty and wisdom are not bound by birth or name." A sudden gust of wind swept the paper right into the flowing river. Xue Tao didn't chase it. Instead, she simply smiled, a quiet, knowing smile, understanding that those words, carried by the water and the air, would travel far, far farther than she ever could. And indeed, they did. Within a matter of months, travelers and officials from distant places reported hearing about a young girl in Sichuan whose poetry rivaled even the most famous male poets of the powerful Tang dynasty. Xue Tao had emerged not just as a child prodigy, but as a true force of nature. Little did she know, her extraordinary talent would very soon carry her far beyond the village, all the way to the imperial courts, to engage with renowned scholars and powerful nobles. Her life was about to transform into an incredible journey that would test her courage, her sharp wit, and the indomitable strength of her voice. This, my friends, was only the very beginning. The story of the first great female poet of China was just unfolding. Thank you so much for joining me on this first part of Xue Tao's incredible journey. If you're as captivated as I am, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter of her story. Your support means the world. See you next time.